Show.
No, we don't need to.
We are not doing a pre-show.
No, we're that artsy.
Mm-hmm.
So damn classy.
We're the class show.
Monocle polish out, ladies and gentlemen.
Everybody checking that out.
I feel like I have to have a giant stack of cards in front of me. Oh, greetings and salutations, everyone.
I'm surprised you didn't get scotch for this.
I don't have any scotch, and I have a chore to do in the car after my wife gets home. So
That's fair.
can't drive. Anyway, greetings, geeks. Welcome back. Technically, this Geek and Comics offshoot, where we're talking just the screen, big screen and small screen, best of the best of the best in nerd screenage. The Geek Collection. Obviously,
Very special. Very special.
This episode we're talking about They Live, the epic from John Carpenter. I am your co-host Gomer. With me, as always, Adam Normal, Jules True. Jules is going to sort of lead this bad boy because this is his pick.
I am.
Do these. So,
This is
let me just set the stage, if I could. They
Please.
Live, November 4th, 1988 release date, a week before the election, the presidential election for that year, which is very poignant.
Oh yes, it was on purpose that happened.
100% on purpose because John
100%
Carpenter
on purpose.
is John Carpenter.
Directed and written by John Carpenter.
It's his last movie of the '80s.
That's
It
right.
is.
That's right. It was based on the 1963 short science fiction story called 8 O'Clock in the Morning by Ray Faraday. Pardon me, Ray Faraday Nelson, where the main character is accidentally woken up to a new reality of the world. The reality has been kept from all humankind.
Yeah, he gets woken up from like hypnotism or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. This starred Roddy Piper as the character John Nada, but he's not really, I don't think they ever say his name.
No, they
No,
never
it's
really
his
give him
name
a
in
name.
the movie.
Why in the credits it says Nada because
It says
he
Nada, but they
purposely
never.
was not given a name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they ever really give him any like
Nope.
proper pronouns
Nope.
at
Yeah.
all. They
It
don't
also-
even say like he or anything.
It
Yep.
also stars Keith David as Frank Armitage, who is actually the pseudonym that John Carpenter used as the writer for this movie, and
Yep.
Meg Foster as Holly Thompson. Man, how many close-ups of one actress do they have to have in one movie? This movie,
Well, that's all she's there for, really.
That was
She
just
doesn't
gonna say,
really
that was
do
there
much
for
other
the
than that.
studio. I don't think she was originally in the script, and I think they're like, dude, this is the '80s. Like, no offense. Like, if this is just these two dudes talking,
I have a
we
comment
gotta
in
do
her.
something else.
I have a comment on her in terms of someone who is in the upper class who is woken up to the thing, and
It
they
is-
never really touch on it. They never really go that extra mile to say, no, we can switch the or the upper class around. Anyway, this follows an unnamed drifter, John Nada, Roddy Piper, who discovers through special sunglasses that the ruling class are aliens, concealing their true appearance and manipulating people to spend money, breed, and accept the status quo with subliminal messages in mass media. Basically, it's one giant walking, talking conspiracy theory that, I'm sorry, has come true.
Yep,
Jules,
there
take it
is.
away. Take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, I chose this movie for the obvious reasons we are currently living it. And that's no conspiracy theory. You literally, you spend time on the internet, you let ads pop up because you say things, you let your mind drift wherever it takes you, wherever the scroll takes you. The truth of the matter is you let two sides convince you that one is red and one is blue and one is better than the other. But the truth of the matter is they live and we sleep.
Isn't there also a case of, and this is, I'm going to be doing this a lot in this episode, asking a lot of questions.
I love it.
Isn't there also a theme in this of an upper class taking advantage and manipulating a middle class, actually forcing them to help themselves into the lower class?
Yes,
And isn't it also
there's
happening
definitely
right
a
now?
little bit of that in there.
A little
Notice
bit.
Right, because the humans that are helping the aliens are definitely the middle class.
Yes.
Sure.
Right.
Yes, that's 100% what they show you. That the people, like, the first person he kills is a police officer, which
That's
is
right.
an interesting little tidbit
right.
about
Yes.
this movie.
Yes.
Because most of the police guys are aliens.
or
There are a
helping the
few who
aliens.
aren't, or helping the aliens.
Yeah,
Correct.
unbeknownst to them, they are also
Unbeknownst to them.
victims of
But the
circumstance.
first police officer alien that approaches him says, "This is an accident that could benefit you," implying that this is not their first rodeo.
Well, that actually happens to the
and that
drunk who
actually
they
happens
meet.
to at the
Yeah.
beginning of the movie.
At the beginning of the movie, John Nada comes from Colorado to what we think is Los Angeles. They never
Yeah,
come out and
Los
say that it's
No,
LA.
Yeah.
it's a very vague movie. They
But
never
it's-
say anything, but it definitely looks like LA. It
Yeah.
feels like LA.
Yeah.
It feels like LA, but it could be any city. That's
Yeah.
kind of the point of the story.
Right.
is
So he
It's a
comes.
drifter from Colorado in
Yeah.
any city in America
Sure.
being pulled, what's the first thing he does? Tries to get a job.
Yeah,
Goes
he's looking
job
for a
applying.
job, and
can't
he
get
goes.
it.
He goes to a construction site and can't get it. Why can't he get it? It's a union gig.
Yes, and
Now
also
that is another thing
that is
that
another thing because
that
he
Carpenter is saying here.
and what does
Yeah.
he look at too? As a brown person, I'm going to point it out because there it is, that inherent thing that people do to brown people is they take advantage of us.
Yes.
And he makes it a point to be like, so, do I speak to the supervisor? As if to imply that it's clearly not a union job. And that's just something they
Exactly.
tell people. And if you let them manipulate you, you can be forced to not work further. That they just want to keep you down. It is very poignant. Each line is chosen very particularly.
All right, let's
definitely in this movie. There's a lot of real good
Definitely.
one-liners.
Oh,
yeah,
so many
let's,
good one-liners.
here's another poster I found, just a gorgeous
Oh, it's awesome.
poster of this.
Oh, that's a fantastic poster.
Let's talk a little bit more about what happens next. He works kind of a day, and then he doesn't have any place to stay. The boss on the job literally says no sleeping on the work site.
Oh yeah. He's like, get out of here. But luckily, Keith David is a nice guy, and he shows up, and he's like, hey, I know a place where you could stay.
Yeah. So they go to this place, which is sort of like an ad hoc, impromptu homeless encampment, but it's full of just people. I mean, these are people of all walks of life, all intelligences. The one dude there is like an engineer, but can't get a gig anymore.
Fun fact.
Fun fact, but then he's breaking up. I hate that for him. But yeah, that's full of just people, Americans, people, just everyday average people, all walks of life. And it's a great scene of diversity, and I think it's purposeful. It's got to be purposeful.
Absolutely purposeful that John Carpenter shows you a diverse group of Americans who cannot get work in America.
Yeah.
And are forced to help each other. And they help each other. The key thing that he shows you, all the people who live in that slum are working together, are helping each other out. But key to that slum is the television. And they're all watching the television. Throughout the movie, one of the prominent things they show you is people like zombies watching the TV screen. One of the things he passes is just some guy just staring at the TV.
Through the window.
Not having a second thought in his head, just glued to the TV screen.
Yeah. Adam, you were saying something about a fun fact about the homeless shelter.
Oh yeah, that homeless shelter. Almost all the people in that homeless shelter, they're all real homeless people from LA that John Carpenter paid, to be on set because he thought, it'd be at least a good thing to do for the homeless people. But it also shows
it's authentic.
It's authentic. Yeah. It's what's really, really going on.
Wow, very cool, very cool. At one point in this moment in the movie, Frank, the black guy, has a great line about competitive capitalism in terms of his labor. And Nada's just naive as hell, right? He still believes that I can work. Dream. Yep. I can work my way up. I can get things done. No, this movie tries to stick it in your mind that the American dream is dead, and it's been dead. It's been murdered. It didn't just die because we ignored it. It's
been systematically taken down from the inside on purpose.
Yes.
And I'm just going to say this. It's very poignant that a black man forms a...
now this guy's having trouble.
That's what it looks like.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's my connection. Are you back, Jules?
I don't know.
Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Give a comment. Comment about.
No, you keep going. Keep going. I don't have a comment.
All right. So, there's this hacker, okay, who is hacking the over-the-air TV, like channel 4, 5, 3, 4,
Right.
2, 3, and 4, whatever we had back in the day in the 80s. And it turns out he works out of this church nearby, and John Nada, Rowdy Roddy Piper's character, he figures it out.
Well, he figures this out because the blind priest is an idiot, and he's sitting there reciting the speech word for word. He's even waiting for the pauses. So, I mean, it was pretty easy to figure out if anybody was paying attention, which, I mean, that itself could be a commentary on, these things are pretty easy to figure out if you're paying attention.
That's exactly what's in my notes about not finding this, and nobody else even really looking for it. Because in the homeless encampment, they're just as hooked on these subliminal messages over the TV as everybody else is. As a matter of fact, the hacker comes on and they're bitching about it. They're like, this guy again. This dude's telling you the truth.
It's awesome.
Jules, go ahead. You were saying something.
I was going to say earlier before, one of the most prominent things I love about the scene where Keith David breaks down systemic prejudice in terms of the system is it's a black man informing a white man that the American dream is a joke. And if you think that is how it really is, you are very naive.
Yes.
And earlier, he passes a blind preacher who is straight up telling you the plot of the movie. And he just writes it off as just nonsense this guy is spouting.
Yeah.
But later, you see the hacker and you watch this blind man pick up the whole thing. And without missing a single cue, is literally mouthing the words you're hearing.
Yeah. Yeah. Adam was getting onto that. And that's how Nada figures it out. That's how he figures out what's going on. And that's kind of how he gets involved in what's going on. But the cops figure it out, or those in charge figure it out, and send the cops to bust up this perfectly harmless encampment with so much excessive force and no warning at all, dude.
No warning.
No warning at all.
Sounds very familiar. Very familiar.
I mean, they even have a bulldozer. They're bulldozing down homes with people still inside them.
With people still in them. People are pulling their loved ones out of these buildings as the bulldozers come over. I mean, very well done. I'm not sure this shit was happening in the 80s. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but damn, it was so poignant on a rewatch, dude.
So called it. It's disturbing how this movie was made in 88 and it's 2020.
It predicted the future.
It predicted the future. We are
everything that you said, dude, from people knowing the truth and people talking that truth, but then other people not listening, chalking it up to, nonsense. But they're actually the ones who are helping the upper class to take control of the middle class and push them into the lower class, while making sure that you're still making babies so that we can have workers, and you're still contemplative and watching your TV, no free thought, that sort of thing. So that really got with me with the cop thing. At that point, he says somebody started World War III.
Yeah, that's right.
That
what happens is he finds
that's ultimately where this has to end. The overthrow of the government. Now I'm thinking, okay, after the movie, because basically that's the gist of the whole movie. Other things happen, like he meets a girl. And,
other things happen, but
he exposes everything that's happening. The best is
all the main stuff happens in Act 1 of this movie.
Sure. Yeah, Act 2 is really just more of the same, and then Act 3
completely falls apart.
Act 3 falls apart into the most nonsensical science fiction I've ever seen in my life. They go into this building, which is like a warehouse, but there's 4 or 5 levels in this warehouse.
And they're having a banquet.
They're having a banquet.
They're having a 1% banquet.
All right, they're having a 1% banquet. Roddy Piper walks in jeans and a fucking t-shirt, and no one bats an eye.
Nope.
He's wearing the glasses or the contacts at this point. They upgrade to contacts later because they wanted you to see Piper's face. But
we should get into Act 2 because
go ahead. I was gonna say, Act 2.
Act 1 ends in the best way with him helping some of the homeless people hide, and them ending up in a room with some dude literally lighting a joint, waking up and saying, "Damn, did someone just start World War III?"
Yeah,
that's the best. Yeah. Literally, a guy getting high already knows what's going on.
Yeah,
and Act 2 starts with him, scavenging through the remains of the church, having it been, raided, finds the sunglasses,
Yeah.
pops the pair on, and what does he see?
Here, let's do the clip. Turn your mics on. Yeah, this is him finding the sunglasses, putting it on, and this is what he sees through the sunglasses.
Man, look at all of those are matte paintings. They look really nice.
They look
Oh
real.
yeah, man, the practical effects in everything Carpenter's ever done has been
Completely
perfect. But
stood the test of time.
yeah, that's one thing about CGI, man. You can tell.
You can tell.
Years later, you can tell.
But this still looks good. That's the best.
Marry and reproduce. I think that was my favorite one.
I just it's weird to me, man.
It's
Why?
weird because like if you could look at Facebook through these sunglasses, the things you
Exactly.
the things you would see, folks.
Poignant
It's
now.
so
It's
surreal.
So important. You know, they show him wearing a wedding ring at one point, but they never really see he's wearing the wedding ring.
Yeah.
But they never talk about his family. I think that's a missed opportunity too.
Well, they want him to be a blank slate.
Yeah.
True, sure. They wanted to be as average Joe as they can, and maybe that's why they added the ring. You know, to that. Maybe he's got a family
David said has a family, but his family's in another city, so he could also have a family.
Yeah. But I don't know. Anybody with a family isn't, after seeing this, isn't just going to go ape shit.
I love to watch TV.
Yeah.
No thought. Stay asleep. Oh, man. This scene is marvelous.
This is my favorite, man, when it's just all of it. All of the...
Oh, yeah, when he reads
all
the magazine.
When he flips through one, and every page
so
is its own...
By the way, if those who don't know, the graffiti artist Obey did get his name because of this movie.
Yes, that's right.
He took Andre the Giant's face, and he took Obey from this movie.
I love that. Carpenter's really driving it home a little far here, you know, with the media.
Oh, totally.
But
he goes shortly after this into, and we were talking about this before the show, where he walks into, that's the best. He goes into the grocery store and sees a politician giving a speech on TV, and he just starts laughing. He's like, oh, of course, that's what this is. This makes sense.
And again, Adam brought up how vague everything is. It's vague in and of itself, the premise of the movie, the driving premise. This is what's driving the premise. The fact
They
that...
never named the aliens. They never
named the aliens.
You never really learn anything about them other than that.
You don't know why they're controlling people.
Thank you.
You get a lot of conjecture. You get a lot of people's opinions of what's happening, but you never get concrete facts. That's what makes this movie so timeless and so eerie. How real it is,
right?
It's because it could happen. It is happening. It feels like the aliens are just like. It is obviously a metaphor.
Buddy. For the 1%, of course.
For the 1%.
I love how the glasses are sort of a drug.
That's
too.
my favorite. My favorite is the fact that the dollar bill says, "This is your God."
Yeah. Oh, yes, you're right. That is a great one.
My favorite one is the dollar
one.
bill say, "This is your God."
And I'm sorry, there's no ways about it. After that, with "This is your God" on the money, that the 1% are not the ones being represented by.
Yep.
There wasn't even the term 1% when this movie was made. It was the rich elitist class.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, all right, then. Okay, he kidnaps this girl in the bank.
Out. Well, what happens is the sunglasses apparently are like a drug.
Yes,
and it causes you, and he starts to lose his mind a little. He's woken
get hung over from it too. Yeah,
yeah, and he freaks out. I mean, what would you do if you found out the world is being invaded?
Well, not only does he freak out, but he gets assaulted by police.
Yes,
by the police too. So he also gets,
because he's obviously awoken.
Right.
Other aliens notice him. They call him out. The police arrive. They're aliens, and he gets into the fight with the police, who happen to be aliens. And the first people he kills in the movie are two police officers who assault an unarmed man.
Now that whole scene there, where people are recognizing that he sees what's going on, the aliens are recognizing that. That shows to me that happens all the damn time. You also mentioned in the pre-show the line that the one cop gives him, "Hey, man, this can lead to an advantage for you now that you know we'll pay you off That's
keep him
basically
quiet.
what he's alluding
Yep.
to.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what they do.
Piper
right
having
before
none
they-
of it.
Oh, having absolutely none of it. I mean, everything that leads to the scene is him literally seeing all the richest people be the aliens. The girls at the
Yeah.
nail salon, the girl getting her shopping done, and the help all
The
just
old
like,
ladies
like,
talking shit.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
girls
dude.
at the grocery
Yeah.
store. He literally sees all of the richest people, and then what does he see? The police, and he sees that they're aliens too, and
Yeah.
he snaps. He
Yeah.
takes their gun, kills them. He gets their shotgun out of their police car
And
he
goes
walks
wild.
into a bank.
Oh yeah, he
And what
he
does he
goes
see
on
at
a
the bank?
spree after that.
All the people who hold the money and
Yeah,
control the money are
here's the-
aliens too.
Here's the bank scene, and probably one of the best one-liners in movie history.
Oh yeah, it's probably the most iconic one-liner in movie history.
He's like, oh, he's got guns.
Do not question authority.
Yeah.
This movie's perfect.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Then he goes crazy.
Man in a uniform.
Yeah,
Man in a
true,
uniform,
true,
ladies and gentlemen.
true. Everybody in authority.
Everybody who holds power. Everyone behind the teller booths.
Yeah, everybody
Everyone
who
controls
holds
the
that
money
power.
and holds power.
Yeah. So on that, okay, because it's also the idea that Carpenter is lumping marriage into the mix, right? In terms of marry and reproduce, as well as things like sleep 8 hours, wake 8 hours. That's one of the things that are in there.
Anything that was an absolute American standard, if you will.
Exactly. It's sleep
Right.
8 hours, wake 8 hours, work 8 hours. Implies much more than just a critique of like politics and the financial
Oh,
system.
absolutely.
It's a critique of the entire system down to its core. And I think it loses a little bit because of that, you know? Like Adam said, it's vague. Is it too vague?
I don't think it's too vague, and I'm gonna hit
Or
you
are
with
we
why.
beaten over the head nowadays with you know, this sort of message in movies? If this was done today, it would be a lot heavier of a hammer.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh,
And this
definitely.
is still a pretty heavy hammer.
Sure.
Especially
Very
for
heavy
1988.
Yeah.
Man.
You got to think about this. In 1988, all of those things were the American standard. The
Well,
American,
and Reaganomics.
the
was-
American rule. Reaganomics.
it-
I was just
yeah.
gonna say that. You got to think about what he was talking about at the time. Reaganomics told
Right, because
you have to go to
because
school.
when he
You have to
made
go to
this
college.
movie, there wasn't a 1% like we're attributing to these aliens now. There
There
was
was
just
still
the Reagan Republicans. That's who
exactly the
that's
Wall
who-
Street, you know,
Yeah,
everything
that's
that
who
Rage
the
Against the
aliens
Machine
are
was
to
talking
John
about a
Carpenter.
decade after this.
right. He was talking about
Right.
high moral fiber, a word that words you don't hear used together anymore.
Sure.
Because that was part of Reaganomics was high moral fiber.
That's
the idea
gone.
that that's long gone.
That is long.
Boy,
gone.
that's really long gone.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things he was sort of talking about in that at the time there was standards. People believed in absolutes. You
Now,
absolutely had to work 8 hours. You had to sleep 8 hours. You had to get married. You had to have kids. You had to go to school. You have to have certain things that you had to do to feel accomplished in
You're
America.
right. You're right.
That was what the belief was.
now
nuclear family. Yeah.
Yeah, all of that. All of that was what he was still talking about.
where we get
we-
to here though,
Changed since then, but we haven't changed so much that yes, now that's maybe not as poignant to us, but in 1988,
Sure.
to even disparage about the atomic family, to disparage about having to do 8 hours, about going to school,
And that's
all
one of the things I thought they missed with him wearing the ring and not getting his family. Adam, shoot.
so when we get to this bake scene, we get to really my big critique of this movie overall.
Okay.
And like I know this movie is a satire, and I know you're not supposed to take it seriously, but this is the part of the movie where you know Roddy Piper, he kind of turns into a villain here a little bit. I mean, yeah,
Oh,
he's
very
shooting
much so.
he's shooting
Very much
aliens and stuff, but this kind of leads you to the message that that you should use violence against
Bingo.
those who are, you know, against you, those are who are in the path above you. And you know that just puts I just don't like advocating for violence. That's how you get people trying to kidnap the
I
fucking
agree.
governor of
I
Michigan.
agree.
That's exactly what I have in my notes. Unintended consequences of this. Is it conspiracy or is it political? I think it's a bit of both.
I think it's a
But
bit of
there
both.
have been, I don't even want to mention the dude's name, but Alex Jones interviewed Rowdy Roddy Piper and said what a huge fan he was of this movie because of the conspiratorial nature of the film. John Carpenter called him straight out and said, no, F you, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're missing the point of the movie. But Adam makes a valid point. At what point does it stop being this science fiction, stand-in for what's actually happening? And when does it become a nutso wacko conspiracy theory? Because like all conspiracy theories, a comforting fantasy, whatever is ruining our lives is out there somewhere, even if I'm the only person who realizes it. That's a dangerous way of thinking. This sets a dangerous precedent because you're right. John Nada is a fucking villain.
Right. Well, because in real life, I can't go to the bank and shoot everybody with a shotgun.
Even if I think they're all aliens.
Right.
Manipulating our economy and our politics and our system.
But here's what I'm also going to say is John Nada is not intended to be the hero of the story.
Sure.
That is true.
And if you look at the way
it goes back to the vagueness, how vague.
It goes back to the vagueness he is. Yeah. At the beginning, he's a very naive person.
But he's the protagonist of the story.
He's the protagonist of the story. He's by no means
and
the hero
dumb
of the
people
story.
get those confused.
They do, because like Rorschach in Watchmen.
Yes, exactly. He's more like Rorschach in Watchmen in that. Before he comes along, they were not a violent movement. The movement he joins was not violent. They were trying to get broadcast. They were trying to turn off their broadcast. In no ways were they trying to escalate violence.
Well, they did have guns at their meeting.
They did have guns,
themselves because, as we saw earlier, they will fire at you first.
Yeah. I'm telling you, if that was the kind of setup they had today, Homeland Security would be on Patriot Act, man. On their ass, which again only lends itself to this nonsense of conspiracy theories and things like that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know what you're saying.
There's a fine line there where this movie stops being this poignant satire, science fiction dealing with the future, and becomes a wacko conspiratorial manifesto.
But here's what I'm gonna say.
And I blame John Carpenter's failure in the third act for that.
Yes.
Because in the third act, this movie stops being smart, it stops asking questions, and it turns into just a shoot 'em up fest.
And I'm gonna tell you why. And why
you can tell me why, but it doesn't really expand.
It doesn't expand because like all Americans, we don't think anything through. And that's the key to Nada's character. Is that like all Americans, Keith David's character, and they all take everything at surface level. He freaks out on the surface. He doesn't think about what he's doing. He doesn't even take to the fact that these aliens still have lives.
But isn't he
alive? The thing
is,
if you think about America then, you think about America now, is when it comes to feeling threatened, the first thing we think to do is be violent. And that's to me the key point of this story is that what he does in the third act makes no sense. But the truth of the matter is, Americans do things all the time that make no sense. Like kill people that have nothing to do with something that happened, but use it as an excuse to kill people. My point is, John Carpenter uses the third act, in my opinion, to point out the fact that we Americans will always end up shooting everything up because that's the only way we can think how to solve our problems. He doesn't one moment to talk it out, to figure out how it happened, to investigate more.
But what you're saying
shut it
is,
down and experience.
Hold on, because what you're saying is that John Carpenter hid this amazing premise of how the lower class is being manipulated by the upper class behind all these layers of quality science fiction. There's some great ideas in here with the aliens and the subliminal messages and the glasses even.
Oh, definitely.
Like an opposite of removing your blinders. You're actually putting on blinders to see this message in the movie. But what you're saying is, in order to carry through that premise to the end of the story, he doesn't add any layers of complexity at all. He just says, no, here's John fucking Wayne shooting his way out of a damn movie. Dude, what's that saying is, this is in my notes, they live as a critique of American greed in which the solution is a macho man mowing down intruders with a machine gun. He ruins it for himself.
I'm not
in that
disagreeing.
original note,
I'm not disagreeing.
he
All
never
I'm trying
gets
to
past
say,
this premise, dude.
he never got past the premise because the character he chose to use. He chose to use an American that's the most relatable. And the most relatable American wouldn't be the smart one. It wouldn't be the one that would dive into
Then
how
he
complex
should
it
have.
is.
Here, let's do the fight. He should have gotten this motherfucker to be the protagonist then.
Oh, absolutely. That's the
He should
irony
not
of
have been the
this movie.
sidekick character.
No,
He
that's
should have
the
been
absolute
the
irony.
guy.
The only person asking real questions throughout the entire movie is Keith David's character.
Let's
I
talk
think
about
that's
this.
on purpose. I think
Yeah.
that's on purpose that Roddy is an
I
idiot.
don't want to fight.
He plays a he plays a simple guy, and his simple answer is kill it.
Yeah.
That's what the simple
on the
answer
glasses.
is. Keith David asks
That
real
scene's like
questions.
so long.
Oh, it's like
He
a
was-
5 minute, 30-second fight
But
scene.
see,
It's
Keith
amazing.
David's character was also the character, though, most willing to live in ignorance.
Exactly.
There it
He
is.
didn't
There
want
it
to
is,
know.
though. There it is.
Again,
He didn't wanna know.
we're talking about all these layers of complexity that Carpenter adds to it. What we just saw was literally two men from two totally different walks of life. Yeah, they're both in the same class. One black man, one white man. With a white man, all he wants him to do is put on the glasses. Dude, that's a metaphor for trying to get somebody to wake up to your message, no matter what that message is, and how hard they will fight you to not have a message where they get woke. Getting woke is scary. Getting woke requires
hard.
energy.
Hard.
It's
It's
hard,
hard.
dude. It's hard.
It's hard.
And that's what that scene, that 5-minute fight scene represents. Again, I love the idea. I love the premise of using that scene in the movie, but doesn't it get lost, like Adam keeps saying, in that third act?
In the violence.
It just turns into a shoot 'em up.
It turns into a shoot 'em up.
Absolutely.
Carpenter
I'm not
gives
going to
us.
disagree.
He shows us this dystopia, but then he doesn't give us, a way to get out of it other
Yes.
than just shooting people. And it's like, man, what would people do other than that? Because like
I said, I think it's all satire, and I think
I get it. It is all
I think
satire.
the point
It's not meant
is
to be
that
taken
Americans,
seriously.
especially in '88, couldn't think of another way to do it. Americans,
What could he do now
oh,
to
you
get
could do
past
so
his
much
premise?
more.
How does he resolve the issue?
If you literally focus on any other character, the problem is the characters we are stuck with are simple-minded people.
I think
only
they
ever
are the
been
average
simple-minded.
people. I think we've
They're
already
average
decided
people.
that.
Yes,
I
we
think a
decided
better ending for this
would be
is
to have different
exactly what
heroes.
happened. They turn off the subliminal messages,
Absolutely.
but he doesn't push the idea that the herd is okay being the sheep. A sheep is okay being a sheep. It doesn't care. It doesn't know it's a sheep. Once it finds out, if it ever found out, it would most likely be okay with it.
Totally.
That's what he's missing from that third act.
That is
If
what
he's
he's missing from the
if
third
they
act.
turn off all the subliminal messaging disguises so everybody can
actually
actually see it,
Love the ending though. The ending
And then the
best.
twist is everybody's okay with it.
everybody's okay with it.
That could have been it.
That's the message right there.
the
Like, because
last
you can be
scene-
like, I wouldn't be okay with it, but then you ask yourself, would
I like that
be
new
okay
iPhone
with it?
coming out.
Yep. There it is. There it is.
Exactly,
There it
dude.
is. Never forget this. The movie ends with literally two people in the middle of sex, and the girl looking down, and it's her seeing him there. It's like,
But she screams.
she screams, and he's like, "What's wrong?"
Why would
That's
if have it so she doesn't scream? Have it so she's okay with it, or don't have the sex scene because that's a little
I don't know.
over the
The
top.
sex scene,
but-
no, I thought the sex scene was a very fun way to end the movie because of how
It
bold-
was
Fun way to
fun,
end the movie, but
what
was
we're
funny.
talking about is a not fun movie.
no, because
It's a very poignant movie with a
it's-
message draped
it's them
in this
fucking
science
them.
fiction.
He's literally fucking her.
and the message
It's
gets
them-
muddled.
Okay,
nuts.
okay. That's
yeah, the
fair,
movie
Jules.
ends with someone realizing they're fucking us.
That's
The
fair.
movie
That's
ends
fair.
with someone
It
realizing
ends with a
they
dick
are
and fart
fucking
joke.
us.
Okay, great.
It is
great.
a dick and
You're
fart
not
joke.
helping. You're
But
not
I
helping
mean,
John
the
Carpenter.
metaphor is they're fucking us.
Yeah.
They are fucking
But
us.
if I can
and she
say,
realized it.
drones in the sky in '88, that was
Yep.
unheard of.
That was pretty good.
that was very much unheard of.
Conspiracies, where the conspiracies only live in our heads, that was unheard of. At least with like traditional, what you think of traditional conspiracies, UFO, JFK, there's some evidence, even the moon landing, there's some evidence that prescribes that that's happened. Shit like Pizzagate, Obamagate, there's absolutely no evidence that any of that shit ever happened. It's a conspiracy in our head. Militarized police in the streets, That wasn't really a thing in '88.
No.
Now
You wouldn't talk
it's
about it certainly
commonplace
now.
to
Oh,
see
it's very
Oh,
common
it's
Yeah.
now.
everywhere.
economic
Everywhere.
equality in every corner of society. Again, in the '80s, moving into the '90s, everybody thought they were middle class, man. Everybody. Now, no, middle class is
No.
hardly nothing.
Hardly
Media that seeks to control our minds. Jules hinted at this earlier. This was a warning that we ignored, man.
Very
And now
much
we're
because, and you
living
know what?
in this
I'll
reality.
agree with everybody that the biggest problem with the movie is its unnecessary ultraviolence, which is why we ignore this movie constantly.
I'd be
And
okay
I'm-
with the ultra violence if
I
they
don't
were
know.
like,
I will say the ultraviolence is one of the things that attracted to me in the beginning because
Sure.
it's,
I
it's just
agree, I
fucking
agree.
awesome to watch Roddy
Yeah.
Piper shooting aliens.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it does just muddle the message of the movie,
I agree.
It
and
does,
it gives
man.
dumb people bad ideas.
And it's
I
not
agree.
even all of the violence. Like when they're invading that party or whatever and shooting people up to get that messaging systems turned off.
Right.
That's cool.
That was
But
fine.
yeah, at the
Yeah, that's
bank,
cool.
at the grocery store, the kidnapping for a girl that honestly, that woman, I got it. She like sort of worked for she was upper middle class.
She worked for the
worked for
TV
the upper
station.
class.
She had a nice house. The police
She
came
was
to her house
tricked.
immediately.
And
Notice that?
the idea of somebody, even if they're in the low class, who is woke, can talk to somebody and show somebody in the upper class, or at least upper middle class, what's actually going on and get them as an ally. I love that, but they never went there. It's a missed opportunity. Again, this movie has a
Well, she does help
lot
them
of
in the
missed
end.
opportunities,
She
man.
does help them turn everything off in the end, and dies as a result of it.
Sure, she does. She does. What else do I got here, man? Oh, John Carpenter was trying to dig really, really deep here, but he had like a toy shovel.
Yeah.
And there's this wonderful Orwellian premise, but he never gets past the premise.
I think the thing we got to think
First
about
two acts
this
are
is-
him just telling you about the premise. And in
We
the
still
third
have to
act, when
remember-
we're trying to fix it, like Adam said, all he can think of is
Shooting everything.
destruction and shooting everything. Just more American negativity on top of, I wish there was
It's
a way
like
to
John
decipher
Carpenter,
more
thank you.
depth out of this.
It's like, John Carpenter, thank you for telling me this situation, but also thank you for not helping me in this situation at all.
Exactly. He didn't help at all. He just turned it into Rambo at the end. And
I have to think. We have to think about this. That this is 1988, and this movie was
Sure.
released in theaters, and the studio probably told him,
Oh, yeah.
I'm already gonna say, knowing John Carpenter and John Carpenter's writing, I doubt the third act looked the way it did originally when it
I'm
was
sure
just
it
a
didn't.
script.
this
I'm
movie
sure-
opened. This movie opened number one, 4.6 million, which was substantial
good.
in the
Yeah.
80s.
Really good.
It's really
Back
good in
then.
the 80s.
Back then, if you do inflation, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's really
And
good.
the thing is, for 1988, I'm sure the studio looked at this movie and go, oh, fuck, we got to do something about this. And we have to make this guy look like some badass because
And
this premise is going to turn so many people off. Certainly everyone who's spending money on the movie. You got to think about this. There are
I don't
people
know.
who had money and they had to put their money to produce. That's what producers do.
Sure.
And I'm
Right.
sure they were like, oh, we got to make this movie a little more
I
action.
still think he could have done it with the
depressing.
action. I still think he could have done it with the action,
I
but not
agree.
the shooting up
Would
the
be
bank.
better placed action.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say
More
this.
care.
I'm
into
not
who you're
shocked to
when you're
see that
shooting.
that movie. Somebody said, you know what? We gotta muddy this up a little bit. We gotta water this down. There's no way we could release this with Reagan. Literally, I mean, they probably
Reagan
were like,
literally leaving the White House. But
Yes.
the dude who was taking over for him was the one dude who crapped all over his plan.
I know. That's
No,
my point.
you're not wrong though. That does feed into the whole, being manipulated and stuff like that. So,
totally. Totally.
man, I mean, I don't know. Should we? What else is there to say? Go ahead, keep going. If anybody else,
I mean,
has
I think I covered all my bits.
yeah.
Yeah.
A favorite one-liner.
Oh,
Oh, it's
definitely.
gotta be the bubble gum, right?
Life's a bitch and she's back in heat.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Man,
That is a good one.
might start using that just in
I know,
normal
man.
conversation.
There's a lot of good ones. I think if you haven't watched this movie, you absolutely should. Especially now. I'm just gonna preach that. We could all agree the third act isn't the best.
I'll
But
even
It's
with
still a really fun movie to watch.
It's still a
It's one of
really
my
fun
favorites.
movie.
It's on my regular rotation.
even with the third act, even with some of the problems, even with the lulls in the second act that never really go anywhere with the lead actress, yes, dude, for the Orwellian premise alone and the fact that this was made in '88 and has literally come true. This is it might not be aliens, but
Nope.
it sure is some scumbags.
It sure is.
It's marvelous, dude. It's
It's a-
marvelous.
It's an amazing peer into what is American culture.
Where would we put this on John Carpenter? He wrote and directed this.
Right.
I think this would be number 2 on John Carpenter wrote and directed because Escape from New York is loads better, and he wrote and directed that.
Oh, I love
In
it.
just directing, I still think The Thing is better.
The
I
Thing
was
is
just
his
gonna say,
best
The Thing
movie.
is his best
The
movie.
Thing is my
good.
We
favorite
can
movie.
all agree with
It's
that.
so
The Thing is
good.
the best movie, and spoiler alert, folks. All 3 of those movies are going to be on this at some point.
Oh,
We can already
definitely.
say that. We
But
can
I
already
think-
say The
I
Thing
think my
and Escape from New
favorite,
York.
I think my favorite John Carpenter movie is
Ghost of
Trouble.
Mars.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Ooh. Oh, Big Trouble in Little China is also one we should do because
Dude.
Mortal Kombat owes John Carpenter money.
Oh, dude, they should be paying him fucking
So
royalties.
much
Are you
They
kidding
should
me?
be.
So
They
much
should
money.
be paying him.
They
And
owe
the
him so
one-liners,
much
oh
money.
man,
Ah.
the Russell one-liners in that are just
See,
gold.
I often wonder if he wanted Kurt Russell to do this movie. I'm always
No,
glad.
I
that
actually
Bobby-
read part of an interview leading up to this that he specifically did not want somebody
that he had
who
worked
wouldn't
with
be
before.
able to pull off the average. He didn't think that Kurt Russell, after he had played all these amazing roles,
It's true.
could
He's not an
pull
average
off.
guy. He's an action
He's not an
hero.
average guy.
Exactly. He is
There
not
it
an
is.
average guy. Piper really pulled off the average guy in
Yeah.
this. I think almost too well. He almost seems like a nincompoop, you know, at
that's
some
kind
point.
of the point, though. I think that was kind of the point. The point
Yeah.
was that dumb American meatheads always would turn to guns.
I mean,
I
you're
hate to
not
say that.
wrong, but
Those guys who are come on, man, the NRA guys. I mean, what is
Yeah.
he spouting at the beginning of the movie? But the American dream. He
Yeah.
is Mr. I have the right to own a gun. There's aliens. What am I do? I'm gonna shoot it. I mean, I always thought the intention
mean-
was. I'm gonna say this because I have
if
the
that's
perspective.
Carpenter's critique, that's fine. But he
I've
can't
always-
have it both ways. He can't have this amazing
I
premise
think
with
that
all
was
these
the approach.
layers and then just say, nope, now I'm just going to critique Americanism.
I think it's both. I think it's both. And I'm gonna say this as a brown person who grew up in Florida.
Yeah.
That I always saw it as a two-way critique. As not only is he showing you the 1% controlling, but he's showing you how stupid everyone's become because of it.
Is he also maybe showing you how easy it would be to overthrow the 1% if we actually knew what was going on? That
Oh,
this
very much
dumb
so.
idiot nincompoop took down the whole
The whole
city's
thing
subliminal
in one
messaging
day, in
by
one
himself?
day.
Him and his
One day.
homeboy that he just
Accident?
met.
Yeah, on accident too.
Yeah,
He didn't even
basically by
try.
accident.
He
Yeah.
just stumbled into the whole thing. The whole point of the story to me is
Yeah.
how ridiculous America really is. Because the truth of the
that-
matter is,
that's
all it's
true.
going to take one
That's
idiot.
true.
All it
Yeah.
takes is one idiot. Who
Man,
has
we got that now,
terrible
kinda.
ideas.
We got
Yeah.
that now, kind of.
Yeah.
One idiot
That's the
ruining
scary part.
everything. I don't want
One
to get too
idiot ruins
political
everything.
in that
No,
way.
no,
but
no.
Sorry.
But you know, we're talking about They Live. You kind of have to get a little political when you talk about it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah.
But that's what makes it part of the Geekterion collection. That's what makes it
Absolutely.
important. That's what
Definitely.
makes it
Because
important.
no matter where your politics lie, we can all agree on the message of this movie as something that should be heard, should be understood,
Yeah, rich people suck and taste like chicken.
and they taste like chicken.
Bust out the guillotines.
That's it, man. We just need a pair of sunglasses, and people need to stop looking at Facebook all the time, and they saw what it really looked like.
Right.
Instagram,
Although, okay, get this. I had a little hint of this too. Yes, all the subliminal messages are coming through the media, but the terrorist revolutionaries are also using that same media to get their message across.
There it is.
Just saying.
There
just
it
saying.
is.
Yep.
This is
Just
It's just
saying.
hard
It's
to
not
get.
the media, it's the methods. Okay.
This is what I was trying to say before. Is I think it's a two-way critique.
Yeah.
Because the truth of the matter is, the resistance aren't exactly the greatest people either. They don't have the greatest methods either. I don't
well,
think
yeah.
anybody's intended to really be the hero of the story. From our perspective as the viewer, everyone we watch are a bunch of idiots trying to stop a bunch of terrible, awful people. But like, isn't that what America is?
Even the aliens seem useless. You
Yeah,
know,
the aliens
or-
aren't very smart either.
not that they're not
No.
very smart. I mean, they may be, but when they
It's
are
all about
found
the
out,
manipulative
they're just
factor.
oh,
They
I
don't know
think
what
he
to
can
do.
see us, motherfucker. If he can see you, you're in trouble. You should do something about it, alien. No, they got to wait on the alien cops.
But
to
you
come
know
help
what
them,
they
just like
trust
us.
is that nobody believes anybody. Because even if you tell people you see aliens, why would anyone believe you?
You got to give them
Especially
the
now.
sunglasses.
Yep.
Yeah. What? What
So
is he
what
gonna
want
else
you
say?
can
dirty
the
sunglasses.
Put on
sunglasses represent?
sunglasses?
What I mean, Carpenter's saying, "Oh man, he just woke up because he got these sunglasses on." So, what is our sunglasses? What wakes us up? And again,
True.
how do we share those
Information.
sunglasses with other people and not
Here's
seem
the
like some
thing.
conspiracy nut?
Here's the thing: you will always end up in that fight scene. You will always be
Always.
in a dare down dog fight, having to literally claw and cheat and
And
do everything
suplex.
you can. Suplex.
Hit
Yeah,
him
hit him with
straight in the balls like 6 times in a
Yes.
row.
The
so
ball
many. Oh, he needs him in the balls so many times.
popped out the rear window of his
Oh,
Pontiac.
I love it. And I love it when Steve David breaks the glass and it was like, ah, damn it, I wanted to cut you and I can't because he broke the glass too much.
Yeah.
Because the truth of the matter is, no matter what you do, they will fight you. They don't want to believe you. It doesn't matter. They're living their lives. Why should the truth matter? Why should being woken up matter?
I think
you
that's
can
what
just
was
keep
missed
living?
in the
And-
third. I think that's what was missed in the third act. People not giving a shit that they are under subliminal control by aliens.
I agree.
I think, yeah.
It's throughout the movie, but I don't think they do. I agree, a better job of. Like,
Well, if they had
really
expanded
writing
the Meg Foster role a little bit, they could have explored that because she was okay with being under control of the aliens. But they never do that. She's just there.
Eye candy, weird eye candy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
weird eye candy.
Crazy
like I said,
close-ups. I mean, she's gorgeous woman. Her eyes
Totally,
are
totally.
like swimming pool, like Caribbean Ocean fucking blue. It's amazing. She's not ugly at all,
No, not at all.
but she's kind of wasted.
Yeah,
on,
totally wasted.
on everything.
She feels like she was added by the studio. It does not feel like she was part of the original script.
Yeah.
It feels like they were like, you know what? Maybe she works at the station. The station's in the movie later.
We need to get some sticks up in this. Let's get some legs and some eyes up in this movie. Too much.
Yeah,
Too
it was
much dick
1988.
with Piper running
I mean, let's
around.
be honest. Like, I'm sure the original script was just those two guys. No, John Carpenter. I'm not shocked.
You're right. How many chicks are in the thing? I think the alien's a woman. I think the alien's a female because she kills every damn motherfucker in there. Man, I love that movie so much.
Oh, it's so good. It's definitely coming. It's coming. If you want to watch more of these, know that that's coming at some point.
So let's talk about what we're gonna do next. Adam has 2 picks in a row because he wanted Christmas,
I have
and
2 picks
Jules
in
and
a
I
row.
don't want to pick one.
No, because I picked this one. I did pick this one, and
I'll
I
pick
thought this
another
was a great way to start this conversation. And
Yeah, I
hope
thought it
that-
was too. Great choice. Great choice.
Well, we could just do the thing next time. You want to just do the thing next
John
time?
Carpenter in a row.
We could do 2 John Carpenters in a row. I
cool
love
with
that.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I could just think on it.
Think
let you
on
guys
it.
know.
And yeah,
Think on it.
it might
Think
be
on
the
it.
thing, but the thing will be on the menu.
Oh
It
yeah,
will be.
we'll get to it at some point.
We do know for December, we are doing easily top 5 Christmas movies of all time.
Of all time.
Gremlins, maybe Gremlins 2, the new batch in there too.
It'll be like a little
We'll talk about
appetizer.
it.
We don't
We'll talk
have
about
to.
it.
Terrible.
No,
Dude, Gremlins tries to be terrible and can't. Gremlins 2
it's
tries to be
some of the
good
greatest
and
satire.
can't.
Yeah,
It can't. It can't.
It's like
Oh.
a spoof of the first movie.
It is. It's like a
It
spoof
is.
of the first
It's a
movie.
spoof.
That's
They literally
actually a
make
good
fun of-
idea. We should
that is a
actually
good
talk about
idea.
it just for that element of it right there.
I agree.
Awesome.
I agree.
All right, well, let's wrap. Yeah, we did almost an hour on a movie that's only like an hour and 20 minutes. So
It's a great movie.
it really is a great movie. They Live. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Come back and tell us in what you thought about it. There it is. They Live. I got a couple posters. Love that poster. Damn.
I love it.
That's a
that
great
poster.
poster.
That's so good. And there's the original.
Oh, the original. Yep. Oh, it's so
I
good.
looked for one of those on eBay. One was going for like $300. That was like the cheapest one I could find, like an original poster for
That's
it.
awesome.
I don't
Yeah,
know why I
should
do that.
have
I
one.
know I'm not going to afford it.
Got
But
it.
anyway, thanks everybody for hanging out. This has been the Geekterion Collection, where we talk about just the screen over here on the Outright Geekery Network. We're over on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. So if you're seeing us there, go to those other platforms and like us. Also go to patreon.com/outright geekery. Just $1. We just want a tip just for hanging out. If you like what we're doing, just give us some cash. We have other shows on here. We have the regular Monday and Tuesday comic shows. Those are great. Comic Book Bullies here every week on our Facebook channel talking pop culture. Big Willie's doing Creators Corner. He's also doing OK Boomer, where they review old ass comics with him and Thomas. And who knows, man? Maybe we'll add another show. I don't know, man. I'm having so much fun streaming.
This is a good time.
Yeah, having so much fun. So yeah, definitely let us know what you think. And yeah, should we have some weird outro for this too, or
why not? You should figure that one out.
We'll figure that one out. So come back next time. Bring your monocle polish, and we'll talk about the best of the best of the best in Geekterion. I need a better outro, definitely, because this is sort of the intro thing.
Yeah, that's something to work on.
So, what song is this? I have to figure out what song this is.
Oh, it's so good.
I think it's Bach, violin, and C.